Today on Steve's Kitchen, we're going to make a delicious naturally coloured rainbow pasta. Thank you to Florian for reminding me to do this. I did a pasta series a little while back where I made another rainbow pasta, and I promised when I got to Italy I would make something with natural colours. And rather than tell me which colours I've missed, I'd like you to comment down below and tell me how you would get the colours that are not in this rainbow of pastas. Comment down below and tell me how you'd get those blue and indigo colours that are often difficult to get with pasta. Fresh pasta is so simple to make. We've got flour, eggs, a pinch of salt, and I'm going to be using for my orange a tomato paste. I've got beetroot over here, just about a tablespoon of beetroot. We're going to get a purpley pink colour with that. I'm going to be using a cup full of spinach, which I'm just going to wilt down on the stove. And for my yellow, I'm going with a delicious saffron. Quite often you can use turmeric, though it's cheaper and it does give a great colour. All of my pastas start with 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of all-purpose or double zero flour. We just pop that down onto our countertop. You can mix these in a bowl, of course, but I like to do it on the countertop. After all, we're going to be needing it here anyway. Now I've got fresh spinach here. I'm just going to wilt it in a pan. It will only take a moment or so, just till it's soft and tender. Take the stalks off, by the way. Now it feels like I'm in a kindergarten today. Got these little piles. I'm going to make each one of these a little volcano. I'm going to add a pinch of salt into each little crater. Just break one egg into the center also. Now I'm just going to whisk the egg in the center of the volcano and slowly draw some of the flour in. And when we've got a nice thick paste in the center, I'm just going to get my tomato paste and I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons into there. And then continue to mix this through. I'm going to bring the flour in now. And then it's time to start using the hands and just draw this up until we've got a lovely pasta. Because we've got the tomato paste, we've got an extra wet dough at the moment. And we can correct that by adding a tablespoon of flour in at a time. Don't add too much flour because we don't want too stiff a dough. Now that's the consistency I'm looking for, not too stiff. We've got a lovely smooth dough and the colour is looking absolutely great. So I'm just going to take a little bit of plastic wrap. We'll wrap this over, and with all my pastas I want them to settle for half an hour or so to allow the flour to bloom. And in that short time I've just wilted this down. You see that big cup of spinach has gone down to just about a handful. We want to actually squeeze the juice out of this. And again, we're going to start whisking the egg just to get it to a paste. I'm going to add my wilted spinach. It's only a little bit, but it goes a long way. And same with the tomato. We are just going to knead this together until we get a lovely smooth pasta. Again, if we need any extra flour because of the moisture added by the spinach, we'll add a little bit, just a small amount at a time. Now, spinach makes an absolute wonderful green, and we're just going to wrap this as well and let it settle. 2 down, 2 to go. This time I'm using minced beetroot, makes a great colour. I'm going to add in about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of minced beetroot. Start to bring that wonderful colour into my pasta. And I'm going to finish this by hand. Doesn't the beetroot produce just a lovely colour? It's not really a red, it's almost a dark pink. Now again, I'm not looking for a particularly firm dough, but it shouldn't be sticky, so that looks about perfect. Now lastly, I'm going with this beautiful Spanish saffron. It only needs a little pinch in a bowl. And then I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of water and just let the saffron steep for about 10 minutes. Now by now you know the routine. We're going to start mixing the egg into the center of the volcano. Now before I break down the sides of my little volcano, I'm going to pour the saffron in with all the little bits of saffron as well, because they continue to release a wonderful delicate flavour. Now as I said before, you can use turmeric for this. It's a lot cheaper, but I do love the taste of saffron. And when it's dry enough to work with your hands, get on and finish the job. Now continue to work your dough for about 5 minutes until it's nice and silky. Of course, the colours with natural products like this are not as vibrant as food colours, but they still look absolutely wonderful and they do taste better. Now that's looking gorgeous. I'm going to wrap this one as well. And there you have 4 beautiful rainbow colored pastas ready to work with. This recipe is more about making the rainbow pasta. I'm going to be using this to make a rainbow ravioli, so you can fill the ravioli with anything you like really, a ragu or maybe a mozzarella and ham. I'm actually going for a very simple filling. I've got about half a cup of soft ricotta. I'm also putting some Parmigiano in there as well. Just add some saltiness to the ricotta. I've also finely diced up some salami, and for colour and flavour, a little bit of diced basil. And we're just going to mix this up to a nice simple stuffing for our ravioli. If you have one of those pasta rolling machines, please feel free to use it. I tend to think it's just as simple to roll it out with a rolling pin, and a lot of people don't have them, so I'm going to show you how to do it by hand. And there is a whole series on Steve's Kitchen, I'll leave a link down below in this video, of different pastas that you can make all without a machine. So I've unwrapped my pasta, this lovely pink colour here. I'm going to sprinkle the countertop with a little bit of 00 flour. I'm just going to make a little rectangular shape out of it. Tiny bit of dusting over the top. My rolling pin as well, I'm just dusting in flour, and what we're going to do is just start to roll this out. And you'll see, because it's lovely and supple, it rolls very easily. We can roll and turn. And if I want to, I can square the edges up as I go. Sprinkle a little bit of flour on top again. And you'll find with minimal effort you can roll this out as thin as any machine can do. Now you want your pasta to be so thin it feels that you can almost see your hand through it. If you wanted to turn this into tagliatelle, you could actually just roll this up now, and you could cut your strips along and get beautiful pasta. Just let it dry out. We're going to be making ravioli, so I'm not going to be doing that. Now you could cut this sheet into half and make square raviolis. I'm going to go for roughly halfway. I'm going with this circular ravioli cutter. I'm just going to mark out approximately where my raviolis will be. Now whichever filling you decide to go with, you want a reasonable amount, not too much, otherwise you won't be able to cut the ravioli out. I'm using about a teaspoon of my ricotta filling. Because I'm doing this for camera, I'm just going to do 6 to show you how I do it. I've got a little bit of egg white here that I've just whipped up, and I'm going to go around the edge of each of these. And then I'm going to fold my pasta over the top of those little ravioli. I'm just going to tease it over to the full width. Now you can see the little mounds. I'm just running my finger around the outside just to squeeze some of the air out. Now you could use a crimp cutter, but I've got this little ravioli cutter. I'm going to go over the top, push that down, and cut out myself the perfect little round ravioli. Now I'll get on and do the rest of these. So right now they look like little sombrero hats. I'm just going to push them down a little bit to give them more of a characteristic ravioli look. And we have that perfect little raviolis. And of course, they're a little bit lighter now because there's flour on them, but when you cook them, they'll come back. I'm going to get on and do the rest of the colors, and then we'll show you what we've got. Now, there you have it. Gorgeous rainbow ravioli. This recipe makes about 15 of each color, depending on what size ravioli you go for. But the great thing is they store for 2 or 3 days in the fridge, and you can freeze these as well, so you don't have to obviously eat them all at once. And of course, with any fresh pasta, it doesn't take long to cook. I've got a pot of fresh salted water in the background here, and I'm going to do half a dozen of these now for Michelle and I to have for our lunch. Now, I've just taken those out, drained them off, and see how the colours have popped back up. So I hope I've lived up to my promise, made my natural rainbow pasta. And I think this looks almost as good, or just as good really, more natural than the food colouring one we made earlier. If these have cooled down a little bit, I'm going to make a sauce, just a little ragu sauce or maybe a bechamel sauce to go with this, but I'll give it a try on camera for you, just to let you know what it tastes like. Look at that beautiful filling. You've got the ricotta, you've got a little bit of salami in there. It's nice and piquant. It's got great flavour. I could eat this just as it is. Get out, make yourself some natural rainbow pasta. It's so simple to make, and that tastes just delicious. If you've enjoyed this, please share the love, give the video the thumbs up, and share it on any social media. If you share it across on Facebook, don't forget to tag me and say hello. And I'd love to hear what you have to say. Be good. I'll leave a link to the full pasta series on Steve's Kitchen. I'll see you next time. Take care.
I never knew that you are crazy glue. darling. And now I'm stuck to you, but I'm cozy and I'm going